Dallas Cowboys 40. New York Giants 37. Cowboys move to 1-1. Giants fall to 0-2. A wild back and forth game. At some point, I want to just read through the end of game sequence. I wrote down all the big plays in the end of game sequence. I can get into that. But what are your high level thoughts on Cowboys 40, Giants 37 in one of the games of the week?
Yeah, just so much in this game. It's weird. You get these games where it's like you already have a ton to talk about, and then the end of game sequence is nuts, and it's like you can spend 20 minutes dissecting like the last drive and then overtime stuff.
Do you want me to start with that, and then we can use that as a jumping off point?
Sure, it's as good a place as any to start.
So Russell Wilson throws for 450 yards, by the way, 30 of 41, with Wan'Dale Robinson catching eight passes for 142. Malik Nabers 9 for 167. There was a Wan'Dale Robinson 32-yard touchdown. Where did that put them ahead, the Giants? Then the Cowboys are trying to come back late in the game. They have a huge fourth down conversion to Jalen Tolbert on fourth down, diving catch. Javonte Williams follows up with a nice run. George Pickens with the go-ahead touchdown, not the game winner. Like in most games, this is the game winner. 6-yard touchdown to George Pickens. Giants have to come back and try to match. Russ has a 15-yard scramble against an all-out blitz with a nice escape and then hits Malik Nabers. I was going to say behind the defense, but he had about a step on Kyer Elam and the safety. 48-yard touchdown. Giants take the lead. The Cowboys then had 25 seconds, down 3. Then they had 19 seconds after their kickoff return, right? And you've been saying this all season so far, through 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The kick game is changing things, right? You don't need to make massive gains to get into field goal range. Dak hits Jake Ferguson over the middle, and that sets up Brandon Aubrey for just a cool 64-yarder to tie it, to go to overtime. In overtime, both teams trade some possessions. Russ, who did have a great game, I don't know what he's doing here. Arm punt, interception, just kind of chucks it up into the secondary.
Well, I was talking to Ben Stockwell, PFF's own. It's like I understand why Russ, why he would take a shot at that, given the way this game was going.
Just keep taking shots.
Because like the deep shot, like Dallas's defense was just coughing up these giant moonball Russ patented shots like every couple of minutes. Why not? Like, why would it not happen now as well? Russ's average depth of target for this game was like 13.5 yards. It was like, what the hell? There's probably a deep ball out here. Like, chuck it deep.
And it was working. It was working to Wan'Dale too. I regret saying, "Hey, Wan'Dale, man, your 6 catches for 25 yards or whatever he had last."
So then he has like one where it's not there and it looks ridiculous. But like given the context of this game, I kind of understand it.
Well, the other ones were open. This one was not. He just chucked it to the safety. That gave Dallas the chance to drive down. And it was almost a full 10-minute overtime. Dak hit George Pickens for 27 yards and then a 14-yard scramble to set up Brandon Aubrey. Chip shot, 46-yard field goal. Those are chip shots now. And Dallas gets the win, 40-37. By the way, that was my survivor pick in our Check the Mike Survivor League. So I was sweating that one out.
Definitely.
And Dallas
pulled
it off.
I was very annoyed. So just before the 64-yard kick, they had the pass to Jake Ferguson, but then they gave Javonte a little carry as well. That got them 3 yards, which turned it from a record into just a routine 64-yard shot. 64 yards that had so much room on it, on top of 64 yards. It was definitely good from 70, and I don't know how much more than 70 it would have been good from, but like the 3 yards would have been 66, I think, is still the NFL record, so 67 would have been a new record. I'm kind of annoyed they didn't let Brandon Aubrey have the 67-yard record. And then late in overtime, there was one point where they would have been on for a 75-yard attempt. I honestly think he might have that in him. He says apparently himself that his range is like 71. I honestly think based off that 64-yarder, he might have a 75-yard kick in him. The problem is
75 is tough.
The problem is it has to be like the last kick of the game. Nobody's going to give him 75 if there's any extra game to go.
Yeah, not
it's
got to
be like, this is the last play of the game. Take the swing.
So a wild back and forth game, and not really the game you expected. I mean, the Giants' offense last week struggled to get anything going.
Yeah.
I think this shows when Russ is throwing the ball down the field, the high-end potential that they have. Malik Nabers now leading the league.
This is the influence of Jameis. This is Jameis's influence in the meeting room, being like, "Hey, Russ."
Oh, do you think they dusted off the Jameis game plan?
Jameis is just, it's his. This is why you have him around, right? Jameis is just in Russ's ear, being like, "Look, what if you just went out there and just every play, YOLO, Russ, let's go."
Including the arm punt in overtime. It was very Jameis.
Let Russ YOLO is what Jameis is preaching.
Forgive me for getting hardcore analytics here, but Cam Scatterbo had 11 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown, and now every time Cam Scatterbo has at least 10 touches in a game, the Giants are averaging 37 points. So take that however you want. I'm just saying Cam Scatterbo, he outcarried. He overtook Tyrone Tracy as the number one back. Had a really, really nice 24-yarder in there, and then a 1-yard score as well. Got to see Scatterbo a little bit, and Wan'Dale Robinson open up the seam quite a bit. So two ways here. That the Giants showed some explosiveness on offense.
Yep.
The ability to get the ball down the field, the aggressiveness from Russell Wilson. Cowboys defense, some issues there, right? We talked about J.J. McCarthy's played poorly in 7 out of 8 quarters.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys defense has played poorly in 7 out of 8 quarters.
Yeah.
Now through 2 weeks, they had that one little good stretch against Philadelphia, so that's a concern. But credit Dallas for finding a way to come back, and we can talk about their offense here in a minute as well.
Yeah, and, the Giants' offensive line is not good. So for them not to have a massive impact against that, we also have to talk about the weird James Hudson thing.
Yes.
So credit Marcus Bowe for coming in and kind of solidifying / just stabilizing that offensive line. But CBS had a tweet that James Hudson is the first NFL player since at least 2000 to have 4 penalties on the same drive, including one that looked comical but actually was just unlucky. He did that thing where it's a draw play. The offensive tackles are kind of trying to slingshot the edge rusher past the play. And so you see them kind of take a swing and swipe them by. Well, he took the swing and his edge rusher slipped down at the same time. So he ends up basically taking a full roundhouse punch at the guy's head, right, which looks ridiculous. But actually, if the guy just doesn't fall over, he pops him in the shoulder and it's fine. It's routine.
Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that. Hit that subscribe button, and now let's get back to the action. And then there was, 2 false starts? And,
2 false starts.
And a late hit, and he just kind of...
This was
also
a game...
He was laying on...
He jumped on a guy.
Somebody.
This was also a game where, there was one point in the game where there were 4 penalties on the same play. 3 of them, I think, were on the Giants, and then CeeDee Lamb was, taunting a guy from the floor of, you screwed that up, and then that was offsetting.
There's not a good place, I don't know, that tracks and shows
total penalties.
Right, because officially the Giants had 14 penalties for 160 yards, but they had another, on that one play, they had 3 other ones declined or offsetting.
Yeah,
they had about 20 actual penalties in this game, I think, or somewhere around there. By the way, Dallas had 12 for 106 by the end of the game.
So the official, penalties by Jesus, which, as you said, is not the totality of penalties because they only count the one that's taken.
For those not familiar, the number of times we've said Jesus, it's GSIS.
Correct.
NFL, that's where we get our NFL stats from.
14 penalties for the Giants, 12 for the Cowboys.
Yes.
And God knows how many extra that were declined / offsetting at the same time.
So Hudson has that little mini explosion.
Well, they then bench him after 4 consecutive penalties or 4 penalties on the same drive. They basically sit him down and dude, what are you doing? Get out of here. And he seemed to lose his mind at that on the sideline and had to be talked down.
Dallas's offense, couple notes there. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, still good, 112 yards on 9 catches. The drops aren't going to be.
By the way, did you see that was another Jameis had to settle him down. Jameis is the glue guy in this thing. Okay, they're 0-2, so it's not working that well.
In my perfect 53.
Yeah.
Jameis is going to be there.
Well, Jameis is there, so he's there to get in Russ's ear and talk him into being more aggressive. YOLO, Russ. And, anytime there's any kind of discontent anywhere on the roster, Jameis goes and smooths it out.
So he's the devil on the one shoulder. The other shoulder's the offensive. It's like Mike Kafka. Hey, take the check down. Hey, we want Wan'Dale 6 yards per reception. We need Wan'Dale to have 10 catches for 30 yards here. And Jameis is like, man, I think Wan'Dale can be a deep threat.
Well,
you should throw the ball deep.
If you're the
Wan'Dale.
Quarterback, on one shoulder is Jameis, and on the other shoulder is Alex Smith.
So great. Alex Smith, just take care of the ball, Russ. Just take care of the ball. Take the underneath stuff.
have you considered the check down?
Yeah.
You know? Whereas Jameis is like, nah.
James is like, you know that guy
what's the worst that could happen if you fired it 45 yards that way?
You know that guy that's 5'8", averaging 8 yards a pop?
Yeah. He's probably open.
Yeah.
Why not give it a shot?
He just hasn't been used properly yet. Wandale. Dak finishes 38 of 52 for 361. Interception in there at the beginning of the second half, but man, Dak made some big plays when needed. Big plays when needed. The Tolbert fourth down, Pickens 27-yarder, the go-ahead drive before the Giants had their go-ahead drive late in the fourth, and then the scramble to set up the final touchdown. So I thought Dak, once again, looked good. By the way, Javonte Williams looked good. And 18 carries for 97 and a touchdown, had a 30-yarder in there. He's breaking tackles like he was as a rookie. And, you know, it looked like Dallas's run game wasn't going to be formidable this year. But as I said after week one, like this is how a team would build a running back room if they were trying to go as low investment as they possibly could, some reclamation projects and low draft picks. And I think they're being rewarded so far with Javonte Williams through 2 weeks. So it's something else to keep an eye on for Dallas, who has not run the ball effectively in previous years, but look decent up front now, or at least in that area.
Yeah, he looks pretty solid. They lost Cooper Beebe in this game. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but that was a factor late in the game with a new center changing things for Dallas. It was
By the way, they're doing this with the Tylers, the two newest Tylers, Guyton and Booker, struggling a little bit. Like it wasn't. They're putting up a lot of points on offense. I'm still a little worried about the offensive line in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're good, but they've got some problems. They've got a lot of problems on this roster, and yet Dak is playing well. There's some signs of optimism in various places throughout the team, but overall, I think you're seeing this is not a great football team at the moment. I mean, it was weird. The other thing that was fascinating to me, I said that Russell Wilson, 13.5 yards averaged at the target. Like late in the game when they needed that drive, all he was looking for was the deep moonball shot. I've never seen a guy like, okay, we've got a final drive to try and get some points in a relatively limited amount of time. Relatively limited, but not like, there's 25 seconds here, you need a chunk play.
Yeah.
It's like you've got some time. It's the type of play where, I said this to you off air, you start the drive, Peyton Manning's looking for the 7-yard out. Just get the ball rolling, right? Let's just get it moving, get ahead of the chains, and then everything unfolds from there. Russ is just like, no, I'm gonna take 4 deep shots, and if one of them is good, we're fine. It was fascinating. Like all he was looking for was a monster rainbow deep down the field, and somehow Dallas's defense still coughed them up.
Yeah, I mean, they play the Chiefs, by the way. 0-2 Giants versus 0-2 Chiefs. I feel like that's
just two teams contending for the number one overall
pick. That's what you need to do next week against Kansas City to try to compete. There was one other thing. Oh, and then we got to talk about them throwing Jackson Dart in there for a couple random plays.
I don't know what that is, other than they did this in preseason as well, where Brian Daboll said effectively he wants the rookie to be ready at any time, right? Be prepared, because at any time it might be you're one play away, right? All it takes is the wrong hit, Russell Wilson's hurt, and you're out there and you're the team, right? You're leading the team. And he was like, in preseason, it could happen at any time. Don't be there ready because, you're coming in next drive. It could be any time. And he would throw him in for one play. It would be like a screen, and then Russ goes out and finishes that drive, and then next drive, Jackson Dart comes in. It's like he's doing that now. Like, I thought they'd bench Russell Wilson in the middle of a game where they were like one score down, and he'd been relatively productive. But no, it was like Jackson Dart goes in for a play. I think 4 consecutive plays they swapped them.
It's a run zone read
right.
type
It was
stuff,
like
too.
Dart comes in, Russ is back in, Dart's back in, Russ is back in. Like, what are we doing?
I don't understand it at that time of the game either when Russell Wilson was making some plays.
And here's the thing.
It wasn't like an early first quarter or second quarter type of thing. This was later in the game when they had already had some success in the pass game.
You should be all on board with this, though, because I was sort of thinking, I was having this whole debate with myself while this was happening. I'm like, on the one hand, the Giants aren't good this year, right? So the only thing that matters for them is preparing Jackson Dart for the NFL.
Agree with that.
Right. So if they believe this is the best way of getting him ready, right? Like your thing last year of New England just getting Drake May 30% of all practice reps, right? Because that's the best thing for his long-term future development. What if the Giants believe that the best thing for Jackson Dart's long-term future development is getting him random plays left, right, and center, just get yourself ready. Get your, dip your toe in the water of the NFL. You're not going to
go
out there.
Random plays.
You're not going to go out there long term. We're not going to expose you to multiple drives where you can get your ass kicked. But we're just going to send you out for a play every now and again. Get your feet wet. I mean, if that's the best thing, does it matter if it costs them a game?
No, I don't care if it costs them a game. I mean, I'm sure Giants fans would love to be more competitive and everything. And it's not like you're trying to tank for a quarterback next year. You've got your first rounder. But yeah, everything should be about getting Jackson Dart ready. But every now and again, you want to win the game and pull it off.
Sure.
When you have the opportunity to beat Dallas in Dallas. So yeah, you were asking if Jackson Dart watch is on. After the way Russ played, no. And you don't want Jackson Dart starting against Kansas City next week.
It's the only conclusion, though, that I can draw for I don't understand why you throw him in for like random plays multiple times in the game unless you are because
I do wonder if they're ramping up if he's going to get a whole series next time.
Because when they did it in preseason, it was like it sort of signaled that sometime soon he's going in for real, right? Albeit in preseason with the second team or whatever. So the only logic I can make of that is that you're not going in now, but you're coming in pretty soon. Like it's the leash here for Russell Wilson, I don't think is that long. Malik Nabers made a couple of spectacular grabs in that game, by the way. Because remember, week one, it's like there were some plays there to be made, and Nabers didn't make them. Not easy, like contested catches or whatever, but there was meat left on the bone in week one that Nabers didn't maximize. I mean, he did in this game. He was awesome.
He looked great in this one. Nabers leading the league in receiving yards. Anything else on Dallas? By the way, they're playing the Chiefs next week, like I said. Maybe you see a little bit more Jackson Dart. I just think it's funny that every time we see a mobile quarterback come out, like there'll be a Jalen Milroe package. Put him in the red zone. Or Anthony Richardson got benched. Is there going to be a package just for him? The Giants have the Jackson Dart package.
But I don't think it's because they view Jackson Dart as like this athletic change-up dynamo. I think it's just like this is the easiest way of getting him a real, quote-unquote, game snap without,
We will keep an eye on it. Impressed by what? By the way, this is almost 2 straight weeks of Dak leading the comeback. Last week fell short against Philadelphia in part, mostly because of drops. But I think pretty good start to the season for Dak Prescott, other than a couple throws here and there.
Yeah, and other than, barely beating the Giants.
I'm not from Dak. Dallas's defense is a concern.
Yeah.
The corners got torched. Kyrie Elam and Trayvon Diggs yesterday.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?